Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Fully Charged for a roundup of the 6v6 Showdown, Winter Showdown, week number 1 of Premiership Division. My name is Lucky, and tonight I'm joined by JMaxchill on production, and eepily and wandum. Welcome, my friends. We've had week 1. Let's do a rundown of everything that's happened. How's it going, boys?
eepily, how are you doing? Talk first, please.
Great. I'm having a whale of a time. I'm here for some concise video game knowledge and or trivia.
Video game and or trivia. So in week 1 we had we'll just go straight into it, ladies and gentlemen. So we're just going to basically so crazy. We're just going to round up basically everything that happened in week number 1 of Premiership Division, because we've got so many goddamn good teams, and every team that has won so far has an 100% win rate in Prem, because somehow they've only won 1 game despite being week 1. It's a shame. So we had Nati, Noot versus Witness first. Any shockers in this one, guys, that you can shout about?
No.
I think the biggest shocker for Nati, Noot versus Witness was that it took longer than 30 minutes total. I kind of looked at this fixture and was like, okay, this is going to take, like, Witness are going to 5-0, 5-0, and they did do that, but it took a surprising amount of time. I say that neither of the maps went to the map limit, but, I mean, 24 minutes against the best team in Europe on process, pretty nice.
I mean, like, genuine fair shout to if you are a Prem qualifier team and you play the best, expected to be the best team in Prem, the reigning champions, let's say then, and you don't get absolutely stomped into the dirt, then credit where it's due. I don't believe any of us here have actually gone through and scoured the SDVs to see what actually happened, but I heard from a reliable source that the Nati Noot team did win several mids, most of them, in fact, on process.
That'd be correct. They won 4 out of the 5 mids on process. And Forrest even had something to say about it as well after I spoke to him after the games, and he said they were pretty pleased with their performance on process and they won most of the mids. And I was like, bullshit! I went to go check the logs, and he was right. They did win most of the mids.
That's true. He wasn't even lying.
He wasn't lying. I was like, oh my god, okay. So maybe this team has some things up their sleeve. Maybe they've got some mid shockers, or maybe this is giving away that everyone should ban process against them, because apparently it might just be their map. But on Gully Wash, totally different story. You're playing against Domo on Demo Man on Gully Wash. You get 5-0'd in 16 minutes. What can you do?
I've got a theory, right? I've got a big brain national theory for you right now. So everyone knows that the easiest way to win TF2 is to have slamming mids and then just like hope that your Uber advantage just pushes through the last and you get to win the game, right? What if Team Nati Noot is sitting there being like, all we care about is mids? Right, we're just going to focus entirely on mids, get some real upset wins this season, and it's like GG from there. Now, it didn't work against Witness, but guess what? The mid strat won. It just turned out they just weren't very good at the rest of it, right? But does this mean that future games against, not the best team in Europe, does this mean they're actually just going to have some like really quick rounds and then they're just going to like hope for the best? Genius.
Maybe. I mean, there is an entire strategy on several maps based around trading off a medic. You go in, you kill the med, you get your med out, you sack 2 soldiers, rinse and repeat until you bin the enemy team.
Easy. So yeah.
Want any input you want on this?
I'm gonna be honest, not really.
Good.
You just beat Flick to qualify to Prem, and then the admins is like, what if you also played Pappy now? But like Pappy isn't washed, so they won very easily, and kind of like just ended. I mean, I don't know. I think it was by far the least exciting matchup of the week. Unfortunately, hopefully they have more exciting games in the future against teams that might be a little bit more of an even matchup, because this is kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah, let's not dwell on that any more than we absolutely have to. But I got a quick question. What was up with like Flick joining the Nati Noot roster for like 5 minutes, then leaving? What was like? Does anyone know?
Yeah, so they got Lanza because they played with Lanza a lot more than they have done Flick, so it just works better for the team.
Okay, so they got him in like the 4 hour. They got Lanza in the 4 hours that Flick was on the roster.
Yeah, because no one realized that Lanza was LFT. So
okay, right. This is making. Oh yeah, I forgot. There's like playing TF2 and then there's like organizing TF2 and the two. Yeah, okay, all right.
Yeah, and there's also players not putting up rec posts like Lanza did not, so no one knew he was LFT at the time. But there you go. You live in your life, don't you? But
fair play, getting beat twice in the same week. All right.
GG's.
Moving on.
Witness collecting their 6 points for that. Then we have Shadow Wizards versus TF2 Easy. Now, can anyone guess what the scoreline for this one may have been?
Did TF2 Easy win?
You'd be damn correct there, eepily. TF2 Easy did in fact win this fixture. Now, there was a round on the board for Shadow Wizard Money Gang, which is the actual name of this team.
Yep.
Can you just say that for me there, eepily? Can you just say that full name of
it's just the phrase, there was a round on the board for Shadow Wizard Money Gang.
Like, yes, there you go.
What a stupid world we live in. Sick name. But, credit where it's due. It's a sick name, and it was deserving of one round.
Yeah, absolutely. So to just quickly go through this one, effectively we've just got a max stack with Opti in it, and man oh man, I hate playing against Opti. That man kills me every time that I show my face in a mid-fight. But Gully Wash was a 5-1 victory to TF2 Easy, and the only round that they lost is because June died and they got put in the bin, and the round lasted 1 minute and 3 seconds.
Can I
get destroyed? That's the true power of Matt. Just better.
What?
He's making it interesting for the season. So when he upsets them in the semifinals to make finals, it's more exciting for the fans. But like he just had to prove real quick that he's not terrible. He let loose for like a minute, and he's like, okay, guys, come on, we can't do this to Josh. He's gonna lose his mind.
Yeah, indeed. I believe JMax did just show some stats on the screen there for a certain team. Did you get it? Oh yeah.
You had to look quickly though. You had to check.
Oh yeah.
You gotta keep your eyes peeled.
Keep your eyes peeled for those.
Stream,
Oh yeah, Shadow Wizard Money Gang. There they are, and where they go again.
I will say, right, I want to shout out Gully Wash just as a map for having situations like this where literally you can't just be like, look, we're getting stomped into the dirt, but we got lucky once and now we're going to bin you. And for those, 1 minute and 3 seconds, we're going to feel fantastic. Then we're going to go back to just getting railed.
I believe that June died 3 times total.
Unlucky.
So, can we talk about June for a second in this entire thing as well? She's been absolutely insanely good. Like, she's jumped into this Tier 2 Easy roster as well. After having Auto, very impressive medic, moved to Witness Gaming, because of course, Moolah said, I can't play. Oh, wait, I can play. Oh, I can't play. And then they stole Auto off of Tier 2 Easy. June has been playing like an absolute machine. Very, very, very impressive, just jumping into the Tier 2 Easy roster and making it look very easy, as is the name. But also they had a product 3-0 win for Tier 2 Easy as well. And if you want to go back and watch the STV, I did have a sneak peek. It's the morale show. No one else played the game.
No? I mean, I feel like that kind of makes sense when you have, like, those players and are just kind of better as a team. You get to have your big Healy pocket scout just ruin everyone's day. Not massively surprised there, but, I mean, his stats are going to look amazing right now. Up until he actually plays a, much better team.
Yeah. He got 385 DPM on product, the highest in the server, and it was 3-0, so that tells you everything you need to know. But the funny thing was that Shadow Wizard Money Gang would always get the first cap, and then TF2 Easy would just come back, smash them in the face, and that'd be it from then onwards. So yeah, don't play product against them. Moral of the story.
Unless you're Witness, then play product against them, but like win the last round.
Yeah, but win the last round. Yeah.
Yeah,
or just win.
Anything you want to say, Juan, to add to this Macism?
I like it. I like watching TF2 Easy, specifically on Gully Wash mids, because watching Nasboy and Nubby make the game completely unplayable for the enemy combo is just like so fun. Because like there is no other team in Prem. Like Nubby will just go super aggressive all the time and like just instantly land on your demo before you get to play the game, and Nas just thrives off of that space. They create space off for each other like so well. It's great to see. The rest of the map, maybe less so, a bit more standard. But on the mids, they work really well together.
Indeed. So yeah, that's Mac versus second place pro. Rounded up, very easy and straightforward so far, guys in the games. Now we had a bit more of a difficult game for the next one that actually occurred. We had SVIFT versus 4Fence. Now this is a good showing for, well, a good idea of how things went for SVIFT, because SVIFT have come into Prem with a very new roster with players that they've kind of yanked from here, there, and everywhere. They've got EDK and Yimpo, and they've got Pandemic, who's back from Aussie as well, Fortress. So any straight up opinions on the SVIFT roster if you've got the roster in front of you?
Yes. Opinion number one, it's nice to see Pandemic actually playing, because I think over the past like 2 years there's been like 5 rosters including lands where it's been like, oh yeah, Pandemic's gonna play for us, and then it's like not actually happened. So I appreciate that, Pandemic is like able to get in servers now,
Yeah, Pandemic unfortunately suffers from number one, being Turkish makes it hard to get into Europe, and then he's also like half Russian. So getting a visa to go anywhere is actually impossible, which is very unfortunate. But he's really good. He's a very good player. He's been around sort of the Div 1 level for a while. It's nice to see him like get a little bit higher up. I think I'm going to be honest, you look at most of these team, or most of the players on this team, like I don't think that you would expect them to do anything too exciting unless they play against Nati Noot. I think if they take even a map against most of the teams this season, it might be a surprise. But I think you look also at a lot of these names, like they're so new to Prem. It feels like their only trajectory is realistically up. Like you look at so many of these guys, like Danny has been climbing for a little bit. Pandemic, obviously talk about him. I think EDK as well. This has really sick mechanics. I think if you pick a single player on this roster to sort of watch the future, I'd put it on EDK personally. He's really like high mechanical ceiling, and then the brain can always be built on top. I think it's more of a, you don't quite have the mechanics; those are harder to acquire.
Yeah, I think the core of this roster definitely comes down to Danny and Sneaky, really, because those two, I think they played together at LAN and stuff, and they had a good time. So, yeah, that definitely the core of the roster. But we, in terms of what Danny had to say for the games, I'll just run through what Danny said. As I managed to get a word from him just before we started. If I can keep it open. He said that they haven't really had a look at the demo and stuff, but they felt like Rons and Brugesman were definitely the most insane soldiers to play against, and they were absolutely sneaky as hell, and they managed to get all the bombs through and do an insane amount of damage, and they really struggled to keep Gregory alive in the games. I don't think that's down to Gregory, because Gregory is an excellent medic. In fact, I think this is like the best season for medics in Prem that we've had in forever. That's all I have to say off the back of that. But opinions on the soldier duo for 4 fence. We've got Brugesman and we've got the old Rons.
Obviously, know more about Rons because Rons has done loads of this stuff. I'm just trying to work out a few things. Firstly, it makes sense that soldiers were terrorizing when they're like French, so they've got 5 ping and they played on Granary. I'm also getting over the whole Granary thing. Just processing that in general. I genuinely, like in terms of the soldier combo, it makes sense. Rons is really good. I don't know if I have like blindness when it comes to like certain players, but like I swear I've seen Brugesman like around doing stuff, but I've just never taken any note. Am I just an idiot?
Not really.
No.
The first time I heard about Brugesman was in a pug where I double air shot him twice in like 15 minutes.
Alright, big dick.
And that's the only reason I know who he is. And then suddenly he's in Prem, and I'm bad.
Good job, Wan, you hit doubly. Everyone's very proud of you.
That video got like 600 views. Very
wow.
It's just like it's a genuine question, because like I know like French soldiers are just, French players kind of tend to be nuts, but at the same time, like I just know Ron's like way more, so I have no idea. Like I guess in fact it would be a good season to actually watch to get a better idea of things, but
yeah.
I think there's some post on TFTV about like the French like hive mind, where like every French player can just play every class in Prem, and like there's just the whole thing of like being interchangeable, and probably not true, but basically.
Yeah, indeed. I think that Rons is like one of those crack players. Speaking about crack players as well, Snakewater was a 5-1 for 4 fence. And we have a clip from that game which kind of surmises what happened. in terms of, so we can show that on the stream. That'd be grand. But basically, it goes along the lines of there was an Ubercharge trade that happened, and maybe a headshot from QB. So he swings out one there, knocks off the Demonman's dome, and then the medic's like, "Ayo, we're going for trade." After they lose another guy, and then they kill the NG. This is the best sniper since AZN, and then just a fourth one just to top it off. And yeah, that's so he killed everyone that wasn't Ubered, basically. Kind of. Oh, good lord. That's kind of how much of a crushing defeat there kind of was in that game. It was 5-1 as the scoreline. They did manage to get around the board, and that one round was pretty contentious. I would say that they had a lot of back and forth in this game. When you go back and watch it, it wasn't all one-sided, but it was definitely convincing.
I think, for me, one thing to look at for the Frenchies in the future, when they play against some of the top teams, we talked about the Soldier duo and how kind of everyone in Prem really rates them highly. I think for me, what holds them back compared to the other teams, I think the reason why in my head that these guys are a mid-table team as opposed to like a top like contender is I think honestly like their scouts, you look at their projectile classes, they're all really good, but like I mean QB just played Sniper, but Sniper getting a 4K, like I'm gonna be honest, like play Scout and like be really good at that. I think they will get Scout diffed, especially when they play against the top two teams. I don't know, man. Maybe people are going to get mad at me. The French hive mind's going to turn against me, but I don't think QB and Alien are that good. Compared to the other top Prem teams, I think that their scout duo might be the weakest. And I think that will haunt them in the games to come.
Okay. I'm not even going to disagree, like, with the scout comparison. I think you are correct when it comes to, like, you know, the top of Prem. But I also love how you're the only human being who could look at that clip and be like, well, he's great on Sniper, but should have been on Scout. Just be good on Scout.
No, but it's like, I'm gonna, like,
shut your mouth, boy.
Like, do we think about Juno as a Prem scout ever? No, he has one of the craziest sniper headshots of all time. And like, okay, like no one really cares, right? Like, everyone pops off on Sniper on last. Like,
I've seen so many cringe players missing. No, I disagree with that. I think it's a nice clip anyway. However, I agree that like the idea of them playing against like the tippity toppers guys, like, yeah, it's gonna be hard.
Yeah. If you look at the top 4 scouts that you got on Prem, you've got Yeehor, Morale, and Ixie and Tomas. And you know, those 4 are just absolutely nuts. And then if you go down onto the other end, you've got Shocky and Voxy on NOOBPANZER, who are very, very good. I would say Shocky's DM is just like, it kind of was like in the middle for a bit there, and it's just kind of like spanked all the way back up again. And Voxy's just always good. And then sorry, go on.
I was going to say, like, just because like the whole concept of Shocky was brought up, like it's been said for like in excess of 30 seasons now. But I still truly believe that, like, when Shocky can be bothered to win, he wins, right? Like, he'll just change what he's doing in, like, a heartbeat and just decide to win. I do think, like, yeah, of, like, the scout comparisons to make, like, yeah, there's some real competition. I don't even think, you know, saying that, like, these French scouts aren't, like, the very tip this top, I don't even think that's, like, actually that offensive because, like, there's loads of good scouts.
Yeah, the quality is pretty high. And then you've got, on the other side as well, you've got AMS and Loopy. So AMS obviously is kind of insane. We'll go over that game in a bit. And Loopy also is, he's like, he's new-ish to Prem, I'll say. I won't say like new to Prem, but he's new-ish to Prem. And he's kind of being built a brain by AMS at this point in time. So yeah, when you compare it to, as well, you've got, in the game that we are talking about, they've got Sneaky and Pandemic Scouts. And you can talk about that scat matchup. Sure, they'll win that one, but I can see what you mean about not winning the other ones.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Demul's in the chat as well. Obviously, he has to defend his French brethren, saying they don't have a strong structure nor main core. That's their problem. I mean, I'm not going to deny that that's not a problem either. I mean, that could definitely get fixed, and there's definitely some strong voices on that team. But I do think, like, if we're looking at one of the teams that are sort of placed in the preseason tier list, like the A tier kind of area, I think these guys might be the weakest. I mean, having a group like a big soldier duo is nice and all, but like we're in 2023 and I don't know. Like,
yeah,
I just need to see some big scout performances before I subscribe to this team like actually contesting.
Yeah. Danny did say as well to bring up a certain incident that happened on Granary, which they lost 5-0. but the granary incident being they just busted through garage and just wiped the Frenchies. Just happened.
Well,
just randomly.
Yeah, right on. Good stuff.
Signs of life, I think, for SVIFT right there. But yeah, they got 5-0 and unfortunately have 0 points for week number 1. But it was a hard matchup for them, you know. They're going up against the Frenchies, and the Frenchies have played together a lot. So it's like when you're playing as SVIFT, this new roster versus an established roster like Forfence, you're always going to have a hard time, I think. Just to round that one up. I don't know if anyone disagrees with that at all. No. All right, cool. We'll move on to our last game that happened this week. We had NOOBPANZER II versus Comedy Shorts Gaming. Now, this was definitely the game of the week. The game of the week. That was like the most contentious matchup that we had of two teams which we thought were relatively even on the old tier list. Did anyone watch this game, watch these maps that occurred, and does anyone have any opinions about the rosters, etc.?
I think the biggest thing for this game, the biggest caveat, is that Comedy Shorts Gaming were lacking might even be their best player in Tiger. Just wasn't there. They decided to get Soapy as a merc, which honestly I think is a little bit confusing. He played 2 maps trying to play NA-style soldier with 120 ping, and you could see he was just like on the struggle bus. Like, it was very much not synced. It felt like he has a very different vision of how to play the game, and it just, I mean, there was a lot of idiosyncrasies in the soldier duo that made this, I think, a lot more one-sided than it could have been if Tiger had been there. But yeah, I don't know. I think many people at this point have gone on record to say that they should have hit up a French person who was not playing an official at that time and asked them to maybe merc instead of getting a North American. Like, even though Soapy is as good as he is, he just didn't fit into the team, and he was playing soldier on 120 ping. And on Granary and Gully, it's just sad. It's just so hard.
That's a what can you do, you know, like, if you go over and look at the stats as well that you got on the screen as well, you got Soapy Mouse versus Tiger. And just Tiger's stats are just better. I mean, you know, this man gets an average of 15 air shots a match.
Yeah, sorry. What I don't know. What are we looking at? What game?
I mean,
what is this actually? Genuinely, what's this from? What are Tiger stats from here?
Yeah,
because like
we're checking.
I don't understand.
We're checking.
Week 1. There's been a game, and Soapy played it. So what are Tiger stats actually from?
You got Tiger in a pug versus like Soapy. Yeah.
Interesting. Apparently Tiger is just shadow burn. Apparently there's a log. Can we get that log up on stream?
What is this?
I want to see the log.
It's a log from November the 18th, 2020. Fantastic.
Yeah, you said 2020. Tiger and Captain.
Sorry.
These guys have Captain on.
Grabber, and that's what. Oh, for God's sake.
He got 9 air shots against Bonkers.
Okay.
Brilliant. Okay, right.
Fantastic.
Let's move on from that comparison then, I guess.
Let's talk about the other team. How do you guys feel about NOOBPANZER coming out of that game?
Oh, dude, I feel so good about NOOBPANZER. I think they might be my favorite team in Prem, you know, at this point in time. Yeah. They're not, I don't think they'll win, but they are my favorite team. To run it down for you, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know who's on that roster, we've got Joe Piggles, Puck, aka Hugo, Shocky, Voxy, and Adiski. And Hugo, coming back to Prem after a little bit of hiatus, has definitely not slowed down. JMax, if you have a certain clip to show, if you've got it all loaded up and stuff, just smack that on the stream for you, ladies and gentlemen. You can see. Here you go. And all these spots of Scout and
I think
Mathis might be onto something. Yeah.
Mathis wasn't lying. He was correct. This guy's cheating.
Yeah, this guy's back in full vengeance, but now he's called Puck. So we have to deal with that. How many holy pucks are we allowed this season? eepily.
So you've used it. You've used the only one. One gets exactly 0 because he sat there in chat being like,
yeah,
guys.
I asked chat and everyone said 0, but there's one guy that said like 7 or 9 and I don't remember which number.
It was Ron's. Okay.
Yeah, Ron's has given me like 7 or something. But there's a lot of puck puns you could do, so like it's gonna be fine. Yeah, it's gonna be good. I want to give a quick shout out here to some tech that I saw. So actually, if you guys are interested, if maybe you've watched the game but you want to kind of break down what happened a little bit on Pappy's stream, his newest VOD is him sort of demo reviewing both of these maps between CSG and NOOBPANZER. And something really interesting that happens in the very first round of the very first map of Granary is that Pickles is known for having like the most crits in Prem, and he runs it all the time. So he spawns at the round beginning, he spawns on crits, and then AMS or Loopy, I actually don't remember who, spy checks, sees that he's on crits, tells their team that he's on crits, then just before the rollout begins, he swaps back to Ubercharge. So CSG play the entire first round thinking that he's on crits. So they get these really weird setups. They lose the mid, they go back to their own last. And you can see normally when you hold Granary last, you play with a heavy on top. But because they think it's crits on the enemy team, they have a heavy just sat, or they don't have a heavy, they have a scout instead. AMS goes in for an AMS Uber because he thinks that the enemy team's on crits, and they're just not. And then there's a Spy 2K and they win the round, but like the Spy 2K really doesn't matter, because they were just like, they're gonna win anyway, because the entire round, CSG just thinks that they're on crits, and they're not. It was a really big play by Pickles.
And now you've outed Pickles' strategy, and now they're never ever gonna win a game ever again.
Nope.
Good job, Wandum. Good job.
So, hang on. So the way to beat that is to check it again at another point in the round.
But you'll be when you bomb him on mid, you can look at the medigun.
Yeah, well, see, I was going to say that, but that seems too obvious, because... Yeah. There you go, then.
Oh, there you go, yeah. Fantastic. But we did have two maps. We had one which was Granary. It was a 4-0 to NOOBPANZER. They were pretty much, it was just a straight up roll. We saw some pretty classic textbook gameplay, I would say, from NOOBPANZER. But I feel like the NOOBPANZER roster played together a bit more. It just felt a little bit more cohesive. They had a lot more like strategies to deploy on the map. A lot of comedy shorts gaming strats seem to be, let's go take a trade on AMS and run at the enemies and pray something good happens. And a lot of it, I think, also came down to the fact that Soapy was playing on 130 ping. I feel like that makes a huge difference, especially in Premiership. Especially when you've got a Merc factor as well. You're playing with someone you're not playing with as much. Apparently, he sat in on Mumble for a single scrim. And that is all the experience they have with him. So I feel like that would have played a huge factor in this matchup.
Do you think, right, genuine question about the whole Soapy thing, because, like, obviously we've used the word Merc, but technically, like, a sub because Soapy's on their roster. So do you think they literally just picked Soapy because they were like, oh, I just can't be asked to ask for Merc? Because it was just, like, the easy option. Because that's honestly how I would play the game.
Yeah, probably. I mean, since he's NA as well, it's pretty easy to get hold of him.
Yeah,
because no one else needs ETF, so I was going to have picked him up early.
Like, not even in, like, a offensive way. I genuinely just think there's a good chance that they just didn't think about it at all. They was like, oh, he's around. Let's just like get him. I don't even think they like considered the alternative options. They was like, it's just easy.
Yeah. Yeah, when I was speaking to Pickles about it, he said that they were going into the matchup. They said they had not scrimmed Comedy Shorts Gaming a whole lot, but he felt like he had a positive outlook on how the game was going to go, and he thought that they were going to take it away from them after some successful scrim results and stuff like that. And when they saw Soapy was murking, they felt extremely good and then proceeded to smash them in the face on Granary. Now, Gully Wash was an entirely different story.
Yes.
Yes.
The overall score was 4-5 to NOOBPANZER, who managed to win the game, but just. They were 3-0 down at one point. Now, we did get to see some cool strategies, so I thought, ladies and gentlemen, let's give you some cool strategies to try at home. And, you know, we're going to channel a bit of our inner Olga here, which is what Shocky did, and we have this clip, eepily. So if you just want to, like, you know, analyze this clip, go ahead.
Analyze it. Okay, cast your mind back. It's like Year of Our Lord, I don't know, 2016, 2015, back when this was, like, all the rage. And see, what you do is you just fat waddle, and then you just M2, and you ruin everyone's day, and then you cap.
I want to give a huge shout out to Soapy, who bombs into River, sees the sniper, is the only soldier alive on his team. Instead of deciding to bomb up on point and above on the ring and hold the point with the rest of his team, he bombs into lobby for no reason, takes the pack and runs back and watches his team lose the round.
That's an NA player right there.
It's in the clip as well. You can see him. It's literally the start of the clip. He just kind of bombs in, shoots a rook at the pyro, and then runs into lobby for no reason. And they lose the round.
maybe a big contributor. I mean, there's obviously ways to counter that, but it's mostly you need a soldier on the rim and someone not standing on the rim shooting, so the pyro can only reflect one of the amounts of projectiles which are coming their way. Because they have to have someone standing on the point, not Uber, to get its cap.
But it's like it's such a kind of thing where like everyone's played against that a million times, right? Like everyone knows what you do. It's just the thing where like in the team you decide, this is how we counter it, and then like if you're playing what seems a bit more like, I don't know, effectively more of like a mix roster, then you're gonna have holes like that, and then that gets abused by a man pressing mouse 2, right? Like it just seems like that kind of situation. You can literally resolve it all by just like discussing what you want to do, but it just like didn't happen.
Yeah. But AMS did, well, going further into this game as well, they did manage to get it to a 2-4 situation, which you saw then, and then eventually into a 3-4, made it into a 4-4, and then we have this final je ne sais quoi clip right at the end for you, ladies and gentlemen, how it all finished off. As you can see from the map timer up there, you see it's 1 minute 30. Wandum takes away with this one.
You're asking me to play-by-play from a tiny little thing on my phone.
There you go.
As there is a scout running in and standing on the point. I cannot see a thing.
There you go.
Guys, my phone is my webcam at the moment. It is vertical. About maybe a third of my screen is all of JMax's OBS, and about a quarter of that is the actual thing that you just saw on your screen.
Fantastic.
Who knows what happened, man?
That's my 1 week of bullying Wandum out the way.
That was really good, actually. Yeah, I was really impressed by that. Like, way better than
Would you like me to play-by-play? And then the clip's over.
That's what
I'm gonna ask for permission to talk next time.
That's what he sounds like now. Anyway, 1 minute 30 left on the clock, and they managed to win it, basically. They take this 10% Uber ad into last, and they win the round 5-4. The medic did not walk out of spawn. They've managed to get the scout and soldier on the point and just cap it out to win it 5-4. I mean, they stole that one from under their nose, for certain. And that's with Soapy murking. They could have definitely won that one. So maybe Comedy Shorts Gaming, if they had Tiger, maybe a different story.
I really think so. Like, it just felt like so many of the rounds they lost were just through, like, that team not really, like, not having the cohesion that they needed. They're kind of just a little bit off a lot of the time. Some of the rounds they lost on Gully Wash, which is so, like, depressing as well. Like, that Shocky Pyro play, even though it looks cool on the screen, like, it should never work. Like, they got backcapped, like, 3 times. It was just, there's one where, like, I was watching, and then they're pushing second, and randomly, Adiski's just on last. I have no idea how he got there. No one has any idea how he's there. He's just there, and he backcaps, and he win the round, and it's just hard. I think it's one of those games we have to just say, go next. Won't happen again. We play these guys in the playoffs, we beat them. Cope.
Yep. There's one word for this game that can probably announce how they felt after it, and it was probably suffer. But very, very sad from them that they lost that out. What I think that they missed as their X factor that they did not get enough of on Comedy Shorts Gaming was Brass Beast, can't say that word, Kritzkriegs from Connor holding last, which seems to be his specialty. Did do it.
Yeah,
down 2 people.
It was terrible, but they did do it.
I think, right, so just to go in depth to waste time analyzing this, the issue with the strat is that corners exist, right?
Yeah.
If you're like too fat to turn a corner, you know?
Yeah.
It's sad, isn't it?
I think it works better on Granary Lost, where like the heavy's actually holding the high ground above the point. Here instead, he's just like in a corner. And you can just go to the other corner, kill the other teammates instead, and the heavy just kind of looks at you and shoots through glass. So
it's fun,
unfortunate.
Indeed.
It's a funny strategy though. I hope they keep doing it. I love seeing it, but like don't do it on Gully Wash Lost.
Yeah.
But like Snake Water, Granary Lost, like be my guest. That it's so funny.
Yeah, so with that, basically we've rounded up Prem for win number 1 already, guys. Did not take us all that long. And you can see the standings on the board, ladies and gentlemen. Witness Gaming 4, Fence Tier 2, Easy NOOBPANZER taking away 6 points of the week, and the rest of the teams with 0.
Nothing!
Sweet nothing!
Bad!
Is this everything that we expected it would be, yay or nay?
I would have expected Comedy Shorts, assuming a whole roster, that they would have taken at least 1 point. I feel like Gully especially. Like even here, even in the match that they ended up playing, there's such a big chance that they push Gully Wash to a golden cap, no matter if they win it or not. But yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I think all the other games, they're kind of to be expected.
Yeah, Am's team should have got points. The rest kind of makes sense. The only thing which, if I predicted like a week ago, I wouldn't have known about is like Frenchies versus Swift, just because like there's players which are unknown factors there. But yeah, seeing a little bit how it went, not overly surprising. Do we want to look at week 2 though? Because there's more than 1 week in this game, Lucky. Isn't that crazy? There's more to look forward to.
Mental, eepily. Do you want to run us down for week 2 about which game you think is going to be the best one?
Oh my god, I would love more than anything for me to look at week 2 and see. Okay, right, what we got? We got Swift TF2 Easy, we got HADOWWIZARDMONEYGANG versus NOOBPANZER.
I love you saying that.
Frenchies versus Nati Noot. And Am's team versus Witness. I think, okay, so absolutely the best game is going to be HADOWWIZARDMONEYGANG versus NOOBPANZER, right? That's going to be the most interesting game. I want to see Am's versus Witness team just to see what happens when the Am's team actually has Tiger, assuming he does turn up. And I think it'll be sad, but I think we've got another week where my boy Natty Noot's going to be sitting there on a big 0.
Hopefully, right? I think if Natty Noot get even a single point from this fixture, it's gonna tilt the Frenchies and it's gonna set them up like really well. I think it's 1 point more than they realistically should get. I honestly like. I wouldn't be surprised, like weirdly, if that happened. I'm not sure why. I just have this creeping feeling in the back of my skull that maybe that might be a little bit of an upset. If they're like relatively competitive with Witness on mids, I think that is enough to maybe you can Giga Cope and Frenchie Hater your way into believing that maybe something interesting will happen.
Oh, but, right, hang on a second.
Probably not.
Juan, you said the scouts on the French team suck. That's a quote from you.
Yes.
You said their scouts are bad, right?
Scout Dude, Hexeri hasn't even played a whole year yet. His first season was season 42. Like, this guy is...
What?
You telling me the Zoomer?
Is that true?
Yes. He played like open or low or something. Season 42 is his first season. And now he's in Prem.
And he came second place.
He came season 41, 10th of March 2022 is this guy's first...
Yeah.
And then he came second in Division 2, skipped Division 1 and went straight to Prem.
He's cheating, isn't he? It's like, what? That's like, insane. He's gonna win.
This guy's gonna win.
That guy on the screen right now is the main character, boys. I'm just gonna say it right now.
Oh my god, that's actually incredible.
Yeah, he's got real like main character energy. He's the protagonist of ETF2L at the moment.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, are they actually going to do anything? No, probably not. Probably a 6-0. Should be a 6-0.
Hey, don't be that pessimistic. I mean, if they get their hands on... Look, Nati were the only team in Premiership to get their hands on Process in week 1.
It's true.
That's some drafting prowess if I've ever seen it.
Also, if we're continuing with the narrative of Soldier Diff, then surely a map like Process, where it is not that much about the soldiers, would be a big deal for a team like Nati Noot, who would have to face less of Rons and Brudgeman destroying them single-handedly. Because I actually do think if there is a diff in Prem, it's probably Soldier Diff between Brudgeman and Rons and the soldiers on Nati Noot, who are Rhythorn and the Nati Noot. Yeah, there we go. I know what I'm talking about. I casted them.
Yeah. I've got one big shout out for the Nati Noot team though, and that is the fact that they have Playgray. That guy's absolutely cracked. I will not hear any different. That guy's insane.
I'm really genuinely looking forward to week 6. I was looking through when the matchup is. So week 6, you've got the HADOWWIZARDMONEYGANG Nati Noot matchup, right?
Oh, week 6 is the one to look for, boys.
Because literally just being able to say HADOWWIZARDMONEYGANG Nati Noot, right?
I'm gonna be honest. Like, here's the thing, right? Nati Noot, they get a single point. It sets them up so well to get 7th in Prem this season. And I mean this in the nicest way possible, because I don't think that Swift are going to be taking many points from any team that isn't called Nati Noot either. So sort of getting that singular point even would be really big. And not finishing 8th.
I mean, that's the goal, really, isn't it? Like, first season in Prem, just, like, don't get last. And if you do get last, well, I don't know, it's your first season in Prem. Who cares?
Yeah.
How are you guys feeling about CSG versus Witness? Assuming they have a soldier that doesn't have 130 ping.
If Tiger shows up, they might get around on the board. We keep forgetting that Pappy and Thomas have been playing this game for goddamn ages on the same team, and they have such a fluid roster. They're literally a tier above everyone else at the moment. So when you're taking this team of CSG, who are just a mixed match of effectively Prem players have been mashed into one roster, it's you know, it's going to be a difficult time for them. But it will definitely show their weaknesses and their strengths, I think, going against them. Because that's what we're kind of looking for, right? We're looking for what are they actually good at. I feel like it'll expose a lot of that.
Yeah, I mean, like, that is basically what Witness will always do. They'll find what you're weak against, and they will bully you, and they'll beat you with a stick until you cry. And, like, I really want to sit here and be like, oh yeah, AM's team, like, stand a chance to, like, do something, but I just think Witness are too, like, spoiled, you know? But then again, I get proven wrong all the time, so.
Yeah, I just curse every team out of existence.
That's so true, actually. I think Banny's going to win every lane he attends this year.
Yeah, fair play.
Good.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, that about should wrap us up. So yeah, apparently every single game is scheduled for the 9th. So that's just the default. That'll be the default date. So I doubt that's going to be true, and I reckon we'll have some. We just got lucky that all of the games got played this week. You know, we got all 4 games. I don't think next week will be the same because usually we end up with someone playing week 2 on week 7. So that's likely going to happen. But anyway, any shouts you want to throw out there, Wan, for the viewers at home?
Shoutouts to my World of Warcraft raiding guild.
Oh my god.
Features, I just found out today, there is a guy who in my guild who's the same age as my dad. Which is great. I love playing with him. It's great. Unfortunately, they play on Thursdays and Sundays, which means that I am watching Prem games during break times in between wipes. But it's good. Yeah. They're not going to watch this because I don't want to tell them that I play TF2. That's my life advice. Don't tell people that you do stuff like this. Your World of
Warcraft raid guild. Don't think you're like a nerd or something, right?
No, but it's like one thing is being a nerd that plays WoW, another thing is doing competitive TF2 content.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm moving.
Any shouts you want to throw out there, eepily?
No, none.
None. Okay. I'm going to shout out JMaxchill for producing this evening. You're an absolute gem. We love you. Excellent job on everything as per usual. You're just a saint in the community. Shout outs to Bad Juju, shout outs to the Tantrum Mix group and everyone that's in that, including Sniper Main, aka Tob and Crockett and Sega and Lanza and all those peeps. And yeah, shout outs to you, the viewers at home, for tuning in this evening and listening to our absolute madness, and we'll see you for week number 2.
Love you, bye.
Love you, bye.